Hey Ryan, thanks for joining. Can you hear me okay? I'm not sure if my setup's working properly. If you could just put in the chat you can hear me. Just trying to test this out. I'll test my audio out and see if you guys can hear me. Yep, okay, good. All right, cool. All right. Yeah, it's been a while since I had a chance to do a live stream. Just again, I have a busy life, a lot going on. New year, so a lot goes on at my day job, and of course I travel a lot, so it's just tough to do these sometimes. But the price action really has just been choppy, essentially sideways and choppy. So there's really not been a lot of good setups at all out there in the market, but there have been a few opportunities. So we'll talk about those in a minute. So like I always do, like always, none of this is financial advice. Always do what's best for you. Just use this for your education and entertainment purposes only. And I'll just do a quick overview and then you guys can ask your questions like we normally do. So I have the SPY up. This is a very bullish count on the SPY. You could see we have an inverse head and shoulders continuation pattern develop in here. We have a left shoulder ahead, and it looks like we're trying to finish this right shoulder. Again, really choppy price action. Seeing a lot of posts of traders losing a lot of money. And this is where the, hey, just go buy calls or even buy put doesn't work. YOLO, the zero date options, your people in zero date options, if you're not taking profit as you get, you're getting destroyed if you're holding them too long in this kind of chop here. But I mean, this is a lot of chop. Now, this still can fool you and drop down to this area I have highlighted. So there's really no good setup here other than you're going to try to speculate on this chart pattern. So there is a setup on the chart pattern. If you're like into chart pattern trading, you could try to do that and play this breakout, knowing that Japan already had a breakout, right? So Japan is showing you that the market, see, it's already broken out. Japan and Japan's already broken out. See, it's already broken out, and that was one stock I'm in on this buy here. And then this was the buy. It was a super area of support, double area, and then the EWJ just literally has been going vertical. So I do think the indices are going to follow suit. They're just lagging. I do think they're going to follow suit. I think they're just lagging behind for whatever reason. I don't know why Japan's so bullish. I could care less about why. I don't. It just is. The chart was good, and we traded the chart. We traded that setup. Japan broke out, made a lot of money, and I'm holding the position, and I do believe there's strength underneath the market and maybe other indices, and again eventually pull everything up in this final little melt up, because if we really look at what we have here, we have a lot of sideways correction and RSI burn. You see this RSI burn with sideways price action. So this is a sideways correction with RSI burn, and it would even be better to get this 4 hour to drop and then actually get some hidden bullish divergence here. So perhaps we could still be in this wave two and get this drop here to maybe 470 early next week, and then you get this RSI drops, and then you have a nice sideways correction, RSI reset burn sideways, no crash, and then technically it can continue higher. So again, this could still be two here like I have it in an ABC, but it could also be the more bullish count in a 1-2-1-2. Just take your pick, choose your bias, but that's why I don't like trading the indices at the moment in the American, because of this setup. And then ultimately it could also still be in a WXY, and it drops down even lower down here, down to this area. Which would be a surprise, but it could happen. And if this happens, this would be a great opportunity to go long for anyone who missed this move back in December, late November. So that's my take on the indices. I think technology is the same setup. Now technology is showing 5 waves down from the peak. So technology does show a warning that we could get that deeper pullback in the indices in a classical A, B, C. But what spoiled that was the retake of this high at 411 the other trading day. I think it was either the day before or on a Friday. So we see we took that high out. So now you have a new sequence higher. So this most likely is not an ABC. I mean, anything's possible, but it most likely would not be that because of just the way the setup. So now you have to think maybe it is a more bullish setup in this market, given making the higher high in tech right here. But we could still see another drop, or like I said, early in this too, and get something to like this drop here to 405 on the or we're still in this too in a flat, and you can go in A, B, C, and we drop to 402, 400 again, 401. So regardless, this is it. I think bears are running out of time because of the sideways nature of this correction, just burning RSI. Let's see how the dailies look. So even the dailies burning RSI. So yeah, maybe the best thing if you're a bull, you probably want one more dump in this wave 2. So if you're bullish and you really want to see that pump before we get the massive crash or rug pull later this year, you really want to see something like this and something like this early next week, and then out. That's what you want to see. But you'll have to do what's best for you and pick your your chart, your bias, or whatever you feel, or however you want to trade it. But there's no setup here. There's no setup. Now, if we do drop to 401, 402, that would be a good setup. This is the best setup. A huge dump down to here, 388, 386. Very unlikely, although tech does show the 5 waves down. I'm calling it a flat here, but I can easily move one here, and then it's an A, B, C down. So I'm just kind of, like I said, the indices are not clear. That's very mixed messages. It's very confusing. That's why there's a lot of other things to trade besides the US indices. But I know some people are like, I just trade SPY and that's it. I just trade QQQ and nothing else. Well, that's going to be tough right now. Those people are going to have a hard time because there's really no good setup. There's kind of like guessing and stuff. Anyway, let's go to your questions. OMXS30. All right, let's take a look at that. I think I have that here, right? OMXS30. So we charted this a while ago for you. We had this finishing in 5. It looks like that 5's done. We have the 1, and now we're in wave 2. So again, looking at this, it looks like 5 waves down in 2. We haven't broke that low yet. So it's again just like these other ones like the other indices. This indice isn't clear if the 2 can be done or not. This looks like 1, 2, 3, 4. So again, I could put the 5 here and put the 1 here, and then call this a flat and call it finished right here. So I think for this stock, you really need this low to hold at 223.29 to keep the bullish setup alive. If it breaks that, then it could do a lot of things. And then the chart, remember, looks a lot like Tesla's chart that broke that. So it could still be as A, B, C. It could still do that. It could even still be in B and do something like this, break it and rip higher, and then crash, which is what this market loves to do. It loves doing this kind of pattern, guys. It loves to stop out everyone, rip higher, trap everyone, and then finish a crash later, and then you continue, and then everyone's destroyed, both sides of the market. So you have to really respect that. But right now, you can go with the more bullish count until that pivot breaks and say it's finished, and now you're in this 1-2-1-2 setup, just like I have the other market, and see what happens. So I don't know I don't know the best answer. You could see there was a massive reset here. See on 2, no divergence, massive RSI reset on the 4-hour. So you could definitely be finished the corrective pattern right here. This could be 2, and we could be going into wave 3, and we have wave 3 going. up into 2680, 27, 28,000. So this is the pattern right now. We'll have to wait and see, but a break of that support would more than likely open up more downside into. It's just, how do we get there? How do you get there? A straight down crash? Or do you get a rip higher, a break, a rip higher, and a crash later in the end of the month? And then we get this later in Q1? Don't know. That's what's tricky about this market. With a lot of the indices are showing this kind of setup, but you'll have to do what's best for you. I'm just giving you my thoughts on it. Okay, guys. Let's see what else. Tesla. Yeah. So Tesla's kind of doing what we thought on my. So if you've watched my videos, I gave that warning. I warned about Tesla, guys. I warned you guys when we broke out. This is, again, another reason why we use stop losses, and another reason why the system I use tends to work a lot, but not all the time, but it does work. So we came down in one, like I showed you here, and you see how we stopped out. We broke the pivot, so you couldn't call it a flat anymore, and then it could either have ripped higher and then crashed later, or just straight down crash. We got the straight down crash. So we got the straight down crash in Tesla. Bitcoin followed suit, which these two tend to trade together for whatever reason. 1, 2, 3, 4. So it looks like we're about finished this wave 5. So we should be getting a relief rally in this 4. But if you look at the swings, it should fail again one more time. So but saying it should, there's so many times where the swing is off by 1, because I could also do this. I could also like make that really tight like that, and then call it finished. So my point is, it's in a buy area, an area of accumulation for the next run higher. So I wouldn't be like I would just, if I really wanted to be long Tesla to try to play the long, I would be buying it right now, buying some of it. Maybe I'm buying 20% of what I want. I get this 4, great, I'm happy. I come back down in 5, I'm buying more. I'm buying maybe another 20 or 30% of my position, and then I have I have a good chunk, and then I come out of that. And then I definitely taken some profit here, or we run to new highs, and I'm very happy. And then, or it just comes down, we break 207, and then I stop out with a small loss, because my cost basis will be somewhere around 217. So that's how I would trade it if I was in it. But this is the count I have in Tesla, and I do think it's going to go higher because we have 5 up off this low. See, we have 5 up. So we need another swing higher. Even if it's a corrective crash, even if Tesla's going to $60, we should still get one more push higher like this to get a 3 swing move. It would be very unusual not to get that. It would be a very strange looking corrective pattern to not get that look, to just have it do straight down crash. But I think it's going to find support right around this area, and we should rally hard in wave 3, and then at some point the market will decide, is Tesla at a long term, like, is it going to essentially come out of the massive down correction and and go into a grand super cycle wave 3, and it's like party on, and it's going to be moon boy, and God knows how high it's going to go? Or is it going to have a false breakout and go, oh crap, and then crash back down, and then the whole thing unravels all the way down to 60, which would be SPY 310. So I think this is the 2 scenarios for the indices. We're either going to get moon boy in the indices, a massive melt up of all of the ages, melt up of the generation, a generational blow off top in the indices, while Tesla blows off everything, goes crazy, parabolic, and then that's the end for the next 20 years. And then, or it's a false breakout in the indices do crash, and SPY goes to 310, and Tesla comes here, and we get that massive run later in the decade. So I think this is unknown, but it does seem to me Tesla needs another swing higher. We need another swing higher. But it did have a deeper correction. So this is the way it looks. And then Zimmer is trying to turn around, right? Zimmer is Zoom. This is Zoom, not Zimmer. Zoom. Okay, yeah. So we called the bottom in Zoom, right? And it's been playing out nicely. And it's trying to break out. It didn't break this high, but this looks like 5 up. So to me, it looks like it's a clear first wave out of the low, and now we're in wave 2. So again, like the indices, it could be done here, or it could take another swing lower. So there is a trade on the long side on Zoom for those of you brave enough to take it at 63 with a stop at 58. So if you're really inclined to buy Zoom video, you may have an opportunity later next week to buy it right where I have highlighted, but there is a chance there it's already done and it's about to come out of this next. So I don't know. I'm not a fortune teller. It's a coin flip. I mean, ultimately it has to hold 58. So even if you say I got to have Zoom, I'm just going to market buy Zoom as a long-term investor, or I know it's going to be trading in the hundreds at some point in 2024 or early 25. I know it because it's going to correct out of this. Then you're gonna have to stop out though at $58. So that's a pretty big loss. You got to be willing to accept, unless you put very little money in it. Unless you can get it down here, which would be a lot better risk reward. So that's what it looks like to me. But again, you'll have to do what's best for you. I do like that it's outside of the this end in diagonal. It's also on the massive downtrend line. It closed above it, right? It tried to come below the massive downtrend line. It stayed and it's closed above it. So that means it could be in a good area of support here. The confirmation will be a take of 76, take 76. Then it's pretty safe to say that's a low, major low. That will be a low, a pivot. And then you could just run it on the long side and keep a stop at like 66. And then just run this thing until, who knows? I mean, it could be a generational investment. I don't know. I don't really care about Zoom. I know they rested on their laurels. They really, milked everything for what they got, but they got to innovate now. They got to come up with something else besides, video conferencing. If they can't do that, I don't know if it has a fundamental investors are going to get behind it other than for a relief rally. I mean, sure, it's going to have a relief rally, but then at some point it'll peter out and go to new lows, and it could be, catastrophic for the company, but it's got to reinvent itself with all the money it's made in the pandemic, and it hasn't been able to do it because, let's just face it, it was a cash cow. The CEO was making a lot of money. Everyone's rich there in their stock, and so there's just no motivation to innovate and do anything. So hopefully now that the stock was down here, they got the message. The shareholders gave them the message that they need to do something more with their company, come out with some new products, expand their business. And then if they do that, that could create the Wave 3 Grand Super Cycle. They could surprise their market with a new product, a new angle for their business, and then that no one can think about right now. And then you get Wave 3 of 3 in the Grand Super Cycle. So, all right, guys, let's see. Marianne, TNA, TMF. Yeah, let's take a look at the bond market. So the bond market is going to, eventually make people very, very sad. But here's my count on the bond market now. A massive flat, right, is what I've got here. And then A, B, C, I'm looking for rates to go to 3%, 2.8. So that means TMF should continue higher. And TMF should continue higher. Yeah, TNA is the triple bull on Russell. My bad. I was thinking the other one, TNX. I think it's TNX. But I'll do TMF. So TMF. So this means TMF more upside. But we're in this wave 2 now. So this wave 2 is really I think this is going to be like tied to what the indices do, right? Because if the indices are going to take that final crash lower, more than likely the rates are going to spike up in this C wave. Right, and that means TMF is going to go down, and then the indices will go down, but the two can be finished, and if that's the case, the indices are going to but they'll go higher, and then eventually, this will finish. So this is the count I have, and then when this wave 3 comes eventually, and you go, why do we have this wave 3? Because we have 5 up off the low. So we're going to have another swing higher. So rates will be at 7%. And I do believe when that happens, the indices could be at 320. That could be the 320 indices, Tesla at $60, Bitcoin at, whatever low. So this is the wipeout of the indices pattern. But I do think the blow off top of the indices is if this 2 wave does something like this. I think if the two wave does a massive flat and it double bottoms here, and we do this like massive double bottom, and I don't know why it would do that, but if it does something like that and the Fed pivots and the Fed, again, I think this will correlate the indices to moon, gold to moon, everything moons, because this would be like super bullish as the rates drop. Again, for whatever reason. So I do think this is the moon boy scenario. And then eventually things stable out and then you get wave 3. So eventually wave 3 is coming. When wave 3 comes in the rates, I do believe that's the market crash. And I just don't know how it's going to play out. It's either going to play out like this or it's going to play out like I have it here. And we just don't know. But it does seem very likely that this is going to continue lower here. That this is too truncated. I mean, there are run-in flats where it truncates, but I would like a run-in flat to be a little deeper, like maybe around here. But this just, so to me, it needs more downside. So TMF should go higher, but in the short term, it's unknown because this two wave. So you have to flip a coin on this one. But I do think ultimately TMF is still a hold. It's still a hold. But as you know, with two waves, they can retrace they can do pretty scary things, right? It could come all the way back up here. So there's no setup in TMF. Now TNA is the Russell. The Russell to me broke lower. So it did a Tesla. It almost looks like Tesla's pattern in some ways, where you came down in 5. We could have had support here, right? This was important support at 192. Because you could still call the flat in an ABC. Now the flat's negated with this break. And you see we broke and ran higher. You see that? And this is where you always got to be careful. So the market came back down. It stopped everyone out because that's the natural place to have your stop loss. And then it ran higher. And now it's breaking down again. So the Russell has this weird setup. So I do think the Russell has more downside. So the Russell has more downside like this. But I do think it's going to be supported. I do think it's going to be supported because, again, we have 5 up. So we have 5 up. So we'll have 3 back, and we should get another 5 up. And then this should be a complete pattern. It should be a complete pattern. So I do think the Russell should have more weakness. So small caps should have more weakness. Now, we're in this wave 2, so short term, we could still see a pop in small caps as this wave 2 plays out here. But it could be finished on Friday. We don't know. That's a surprise. Now the surprise also is C continues to extend, and then this setup becomes something like a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then it comes down later, and then it just changes the target. So it's a real mess. So the Russell's a real choppy mess. Like it could still do that, and in fact, stocks like GameStop and these others that are way oversold need that. So this pump could allow a lot of those stocks to correct, and then you get this pullback later in 5, something like this. Something like that. So it's tough to say. So that's why TNA is going to be a mess. So trading TNA has got to be an absolute mess right now. But I'll go look at the symbol. And see if there's sometimes the symbol offers a clue better than the indice. But so just on a bigger picture, TNA is still outside the downtrend line, so that's bullish. So you have this downtrend line it broke out of right here. It broke out, it back tested it, right? And it's holding the back test. So it's still holding the back test, so that's bullish. But unfortunately, the sequence broke lower. You see that lower low. So again, TNA is going to be a mess. It's going to be, A, and this B could either do it could come up here and come down later. It could be done already and then drop down here, which is why I have this highlighted. So I will take a piece of TNA down in this area if it were to do it. This was an area, but now that this was good, the setup's lost, even though it's going to run higher. I don't like the setup, so it's not really tradable anymore. It's not a clear setup using my system, so I stay away from it. So it could still do something like this, like I have, or it could be finished and then just drop, early next week. But either way, you have 5 off the low. You have 5 off the low, which means you should get another swing higher, at least. But you'll have to do what's best for you. So again, not a lot of clear setups in this market. There's a lot of choppiness. There's a lot of confusion. Traders are super confused. Even technical traders are confused. Fundamental investors are very confused too right now overall in the market. They're like, oh, they're going to raise rate. No, they're going to cut. They're going to cut. They need cuts. Cuts is good. No, cuts are bad because it means recession. And it's like this, circle back and forth. And oh my God, China is going to do stimulus because they have to. It's too much deflation. So that's bullet. So everyone's so confused. Oh, and the market should just crash because it needs to crash because it was too high. It went up too fast in last year, so it's got to crash. And it's like, so everyone's so confused. And that's what a sideways choppy market is. It's confusion. No one knows what to do. But there's no setup here anymore. I mean, there's no setup. I mean, if you could try to market buy it and put a stop at 33 and see if you can run up, but you definitely can't stay at the party too long because eventually B will end. But C can run up pretty high. It could still do something like this and do a sideways, like something like that, right? And come back and test the trend line again and just make a marginal low. Like, I don't know. Like, it could be so many possibilities right now in the Russell. There's so many. Let's see if the RSI gives us any clues. Clear daily break on the RSI, so that's pretty bearish. And then the 4-hour looks like you've got some bullish divergence playing out. So it does seem likely that the market wants a bigger relief rally. It wants C to have a bigger relief rally. So I would not be surprised to see this looking at the 4-hour RSI. This will give the 4-hour RSI time to pump a little more, and then this will allow the daily to fully reset later. So something like that. Hey, Anonymous, thanks, man. Wow, that's great. I really appreciate the super chat, man. You made my day. I really appreciate it. Let me get into your questions. And those new to my chat, if you anyone that gives me a super chat, man, I just go right to your question. I only stay on for around an hour or so. So we'll go to yours. Bitcoin. So yeah, Bitcoin's correcting, and I posted that on my last video to look out for that wave 5. And of course, we'll sell buy the rumor, sell the news event. So I'm looking for Bitcoin to stay supported again in an ABC with another swing higher, at least, because we're 5 up off the low. I do, in that my forecast with the indices is another swing higher, so I'll keep Bitcoin the same. But I do think we're entering a bigger correction. I think it's a bigger correction, a higher degree correction, which is way overdue for Bitcoin. I think it's desperate for this type of correction. So I do look at it as in 5. And then we'll set A. So A should get set this weekend. I'm hoping to see A get set, and then next week we run B. So B should be a nice counter trend rally, and then eventually C later in the month. So that's what I'm looking at for Bitcoin. Now, the surprise will be is if it could be, now the other thing, before I get into that, there could be a WXY correction, right? By the way, so it may actually be done. The first leg may be done. So it could still turn into WXY. So again, I can't tell the future. I just given you the possibilities, but this seems like the most possible outcome. Maybe 38,000. Now, here's the thing with Bitcoin. This is clearly an impulse off the low, guys. It's clearly an impulse off the low. Now, you have this flat. Right, I could call this an ABC with a flat, a massive flat. If I call it this, then Bitcoin is just going to crash to 10,000, right? And it's going to be a massive rug pull, like a rug pull like of our lifetime, but also be an opportunity of our lifetime. So I think just again looking at the market as poker, right? There's so many people that miss this move. There's no way. I think buyers are going to come in. There is no way the market is going to let Bitcoin drop to 12,000. It's just not going to happen because so many people miss this move. So many people now see the ETF, whether you think it deserves it or not, it's positive. It's going to bring money in. People are cashing out. They're using it as liquidation now, but it's going to bring in money. It's fundamentally, it's going to have a way to get the Bitcoin to the market caps that seem unthinkable. There's no other way to do it other than having these ETFs. So now that you've got that, the future of Bitcoin in these higher areas is now possible, I think. But I don't think you could push this price down to these areas anymore. I think there's too much money that will rush in, including myself. I'll drop 100 grand in. If Bitcoin drops down to here, I'm dropping 100 grand in it. Like it will be like beyond Christmas if there's something like this happens. There's no way the market participants are going to let this happen. So I think as good as you're going to get on this is 38,000. And look at this support. This is going to be now support, guys. This is not going to be this is going to be. And so wait, maybe it comes back and back test 35,000 in a straight down crash on C leg, but this is going to be supported. So if this is going to run up at least one more time, then after that, it's like, then we have to wait and see where the market is, because it's going to do some. I think it's going to do something like this, and then I don't know how the pattern will play out. I think we need to look at the timing of where this is and what the market overall is doing. But it's looking more and more likely the pattern we're looking at. So this is the most bearish pattern I can think of in Bitcoin right now is something like this. This is the most bearish, but I still don't think this is going to happen. I don't like calling the bottom with this setup here, but I do like trading. It's an impulse off the low. I do want to look to go long it. I do think it's got another swing higher. And then whatever happens over here happens. You could change this labeling again and call it a flat, right? You could still call this a flat correction, and if you do that, then Bitcoin is gonna moon, because this would be a grand super cycle wave 3, and Bitcoin in grand super cycle wave 3 is moons. Every wave 3, every degree wave 3 has always mooned in Bitcoin. Every wave 3. This is wave 3, right? So every wave 3 of 3, it won't pull back. And that's almost like what we're seeing here. It's just not pulling back. So I don't want to be too bearish on Bitcoin given how it's been trading lately. I am looking for this pullback here, but you you can't be too picky with your entry at this point. And you got to use like regular. So there's a lot of support at 35,000. So this is massive. So if Bitcoin were to dump, this would be a good entry to try to go long. I don't see it going to these lower levels anymore. I think too many people are going to buy it because they missed the move and they want to get back in on it. That's my feeling. That's my personal feelings. And then let's look at the RSI. 4 RSI is already reset. This is crazy. So, it's already reset. I'm not going to forecast this, guys, but this correction could be even over here. On the 4-hour time frame, it could be already done in a straight down crash correct. It would, again, I'm not forecasting this. I think that's too bullish, but the 4 hours showing you a lot of weak hands folded for whatever, a lot of people. The daily clearly reset. So we're obviously in a higher, we're correcting the whole cycle from the bottom, right? From November 22. So that's my forecast on Bitcoin. So it's a long forecast, but all that needs to be said for everyone on the call so you guys can understand my thoughts on where Bitcoin is at the moment. But yeah, I am looking for another wave lower. But here's your wave 4. If it comes down here, it seems like it'll have a lot of support for a nice move higher, and it should get that move higher. We should get 3 swings, and then after that, who knows? If it is a true grand super cycle wave 3 of 3 moment, then more than likely it's going to truncate here and it's just going to keep going higher, and people are going to be scratching their heads why Bitcoin's not selling off. And that's what wave 3s do to people, especially in Bitcoin, if it's a grand super cycle wave 3 has been born. So I can't tell you if that's the case. So now going back to your questions, man, on LTCN and BCHE. So those are good. Yeah, those are good. So those I had those. I've been watching those. BCHG was in a buy area the other day. Let me see how that played out here. So it came to the sell area. This was the extreme sell, and it actually tagged that. So it's easy. It's 5 ways off the low, and now it's pulling back. But see, this was the buy here at 3. But again, it could take another swing lower. I thought it would need another. I thought this would be too bullish to buy it here, although it did have a nice rally. I would be looking for a new entry. So for those of you who have missed this move on this one, BHCG, a great opportunity may be presenting itself at 235 in this area if it were to come down to this area here. Of course, it can't break this low. So that would be a pretty deep correction if it came down here, but this would be a great opportunity for investors who missed the move. The other alternative is it's already done because you hit the wave 4 low target. You already have your 3 swings. Distance is good, so this bottom could be in. It could be ready to go, and then the next target higher, I'll give you it. So you could trade it long against $3, but it could be in this move right now. So unfortunately, we don't know if it's going to take that final swing. The RSI and the 4-hour would be nice to get it to the oversold area. So how's the daily look? The daily actually hasn't even broke cycle yet. I was just looking at that. Just broke cycle. So yeah, it needs more downside. So I think this is the safer forecast. So maybe we chop around in a connector for a while. Maybe we don't get this drop right away. You get this chop in a connector, sideways, and then comes down, something like that. So that's what I'm looking at. And then LTCN probably the same look, right? LTCN almost hit the $20 resistance. Again, these are extreme areas. It blew through this resistance. So obviously it's pretty bullish, guys. This is way too deep to be a wave 4, so my count is off. So we put the wave 4 here. So now again, it's correcting the whole move. This is very deep. The LTCN 1, 2, 3. This looks like a better case for it to be finished here at against 856, because if this is the connector, it could retrace all the way back to the double bottom. So that would be really bearish, potentially. That'll get you back to 346, and again, that would be another Christmas gift. If LTCN makes another correction lower, you can buy it right here at 346 to like the 223 area. But if I look at this, it almost looks like it could be finished. It has a stronger case for it to be finished than Bitcoin Cash. But it's in a connector wave, right? So again, it could do something like that later. It could be this 4 hour. 4 hours almost good to go. Daily, see, this one has a deeper correction. So for whatever reason, people aren't selling Bitcoin Cash. They FOMO'd into this by accident. For whatever reason, maybe people didn't know how to convert it right, because a lot of the average traders out there, or the mom and pop 401k, they just look at this and go, oh, it's 20 or 19. That means it's $19 a Litecoin. Holy shit, that's a great deal, because Litecoin's trading at $60. Or they don't know the math, so they don't do the math. They don't know it's trading at a premium or whatever, and so they buy it and they make a mistake. So that's what starts happening. As people, because what happens in these cycles is all the dumb money gets attracted in, and so they just look at this and they assume, oh, that's the price of Litecoin, and they don't even know it's like a part of a Litecoin. So they don't do the mathematics to know the net asset value, to know if it's trading at a premium or not, to see if you're going to get you're doing something stupid, because you don't want to buy this shit at a premium, man. So I don't know. $10 is probably still at a premium, I bet. But I do think it's gonna come back into this area at some point. But this one has a stronger case to show that that's a massive low. And one thing to look at is Litecoin itself. Litecoin needs to retake this high. Where is this high at? Let me come back. Litecoin needs to take out 115. If it can't do that, it's still bearish, guys. It could still do this massive flat I have. And if it does that, that could pull the LTCN down to the $3. This could pull it down. But this would be so healthy for this Litecoin market. If you're traded Litecoin, guys, you want this. We need whales to panic. We need the whales in Litecoin that have used this as a money tree for the last 10 years to fucking panic. We need them to say, hey, oh my God, what's going on? I can't manipulate the market. Oh, shit, it's going back to single digit. And then when they finally panic, like they've done in Ripple, they already did this in Ripple, then it's ready to moon. So I want to see a healthy crash. I want to see this low break at $20. I want to see this area tagged. I really do. And I really hope this happens for the coin for the next, because this will create a massive opportunity if we can get this flat to finish. And this is what I have here. Let me label it as a flat. So this is the flat in an A, B, C, and a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is what I want to see in Litecoin. If you want this thing to moon to over $1,000 Litecoin, you want to see this happen, just like I have it here. And I do think it's starting to almost play out like that. It's almost there. And then I do think whales will panic somewhere around when we probably break 40, and then all hell will break loose in this coin. And then finally, the whales will panic, and then you can get to a real bottom, a real capitulation that you need. Because right now, the reason this thing hasn't taken off is a money tree for a few big holders of Litecoin. It's just a money tree, and they just keep selling into in their cash, and they're buying their Lambos and all sorts of shit they're posting on the internet, and eventually they need to panic. They need to panic. The CEO of Litecoin. I heard there's a CEO of Litecoin, that a self-appointed CEO. I mean, are you kidding me? I mean, those guys need to get blown the F up. These guys. So that's what's got to happen with Litecoin. So that's my rant on Litecoin, guys. Mara and CLSK. I'll just do those real quick for sake of time here. But Mara showing a setup, guys. I'm keeping an eye on that. 18. It's almost there. So this is a great setup, man. This is a nice 3-wave move off of a 5-wave reaction. So this could be a warning sign that Bitcoin may bottom sooner than we think. The miners are showing a sign that it could be finished in wave 2, or you can get a nice relief rally, a tradable relief rally. So Mara, and in fact, I almost pulled the trigger on this on Friday and Mara early. But I was watching Bitcoin's price action, so I was like, wait, maybe I'm Tuesday. I'll buy this on Tuesday if we can get down in this area. But this is Mara, so we should get this bounce. If it fails, fine. You can make money on the bounce, stop out, buy it later, or it could be 2, and then you can get a nice pump. So I don't know, but I do know this is a great setup here. And then CLSK. Same thing, it's in a buy area, but it's going deep in the corrective area. But it should come out of this. And let's look at the bigger picture on CLSK. So to me, this just looks like, well, we have divergence. So we have divergence. So it's still a good chart. So it's a one off the low. So it should bounce, but it does seem it's like in time too short. Like this would be too bullish, but technically it should bounce at any moment. Now, if we break 770, if we break 770, then more than likely it is a bigger correction. It will bounce, right? It more than likely will turn into a bigger correction and do something like that if it breaks. If it doesn't break, then this too can be in. but again, this is where I'm not a fortune teller. So the two's in, or it could bounce, and do that, which would be a cleaner setup. So I'd rather buy Mara than buy this. I'd rather buy Mara. Even if I'm going to play for this bounce, I'd rather buy Mara and play for the bounce than buy this and try to play for this bounce, because this bounce may not happen. It may go deeper down and bounce later, but if it goes deeper, more than likely it's going to bounce and fail. So, but it does seem like the cycle's over here, and now it's in this 4-hour daily. Yeah, but the daily's coming down. So again, can't be too bearish. This is massive hidden bullish divergence. Look. So when I say what is a hidden bullish divergence on the daily, so for those of you that don't know what I mean, you see where the RSI, the low in the RSI, look where it is and look where the price is. It's at $8 right now, $8.13. The RSI, the similar low here, look where the price was trading at that RSI low here, $3. So there's massive hidden bullish divergence in the daily and the RSI. So you have a complete cycle reset almost on the daily cycle, and the price is way above where. So if you're hoping for that, it's probably not going to happen, guys. So I'm just saying. The daily may still push it down a little bit more, but like Litecoin, the market may be more bullish than we think. Because of the straight down nature, the capitulity, how people capitulated out of these weekends blowing up. Yeah, if I would say if the SP rate corrects to 380, all those are going back down. And the most likely forecast for that would be this you get this relief rally, and then it comes back down like that. And then this is a drop, and it does something like that. Okay, for all of those charts. AEHR, I'll go to AEHR real quick. I thought we had it in here. Damn, it's getting destroyed. All right, it's in Y leg. So technically a Y leg needs 3 swings. So see how you have one, 2, 3. So here you have a lot of different swings within this W. So I have to label this just to show you guys W like that. So you see you have 3 swings here, and then you have 3 swings here. So you need the same thing. So you have your first, looks like your first 3 swings is almost finished. So we should bounce, and it should fail one more time. That's would be my forecast. It should bounce at any moment, and then it should fail one more time. So that's that's how I would forecast it, and that would be similar to you see here. How deep can it go? You'll have to just use your imagination. I don't know. There's no good way to target the buy here at this point. But that's the most likely path. Man, it got obliterated, huh? Holy crap. Man, but we did trade this. We own this stock. Our channel owns this stock, man, because we called the bottom here. We called the short here. I mean, I think we called the buy here. I mean, we've owned it. So this is my forecast. We'll see if it plays out. Now, if this plays out and we get this, then this thing's gonna go to wave 3, and it's gonna break 55 and go to triple digits eventually. So I mean, could it go to 0 in the grand super cycle correction? Stocks can always go to 0, so you have to respect that too. So this is a grand super cycle correction. So there's no guarantee it ever bounces. This could go to 0, go bankrupt. I don't know why it would. I don't follow the company. I have no idea. But you have to respect that. And I always use Chesapeake Energy as an example. Chesapeake Energy was correcting for years, almost a decade. It was like a buy, it showed, and eventually just went bankrupt. And then as soon as it came out of bankruptcy, it mooned. And then natural gas, the rest was history. 2020, the pump. So you don't know. So these grand super cycle stocks, they may never recover. They just go to 0. So there's no telling. There's no telling how deep it's going to go. There's no telling. Too much divergence right there. See, that's got to get erased. So this is telling you still need more downside. All right, ING, and then I think we're good to go. I think ING is crypto, if I remember right. We hadn't looked at that in a long time. Wow, did this play out right? So we had this 3 and 3, 4, 5. So it did a run in flat, and run in flat truncates, and then it moons, right? It moons in a wave 3. It looks like to me wave 3 ended here. There's your wave 4, and then there's your wave 5. Just like the rest of crypto. Yeah. So now it's correcting. Wow. So this is one that's got blue skies. So I don't know. Maybe this is one of the altcoins that is going to run in the next couple of years. Everyone's looking for what's the next altcoin that's going to pump and moon. So this may be it. Again, I don't know what this crypto company does or firm. Again, I have no idea about its cryptonomics. I just see in the chart. So the buy was 34. It hit it. So essentially, it missed it maybe by 10 cents. So the correction could be over. So these wave 3s in crypto, but this is a blue skies wave 3, guys. Unless I'm missing some chart data, this is blue skies. So there's no guarantee it's going to take another swing lower. Now, the probability is it should take another swing lower, but there's no guarantee. It could just keep mooning, because that's what crypto does in wave 3, especially altcoins. Now, it could bounce and fail and retouch this wave 4 low. That's the most logical and probable path. So I wouldn't just go total moon boy on this yet. I would still say the most probable path is something like this. Then this would be a great opportunity for those that missed a move if this happens, to get in on it for essentially a vertical price action. And it should do that because you have 5 off the low. You should get one more swing higher. So again, the 4-hour and the daily are showing me that it's the correction's not done yet. It's not done yet. So in fact, if it were to just moon from here, I wouldn't even label this a 2. I would just label this an extension of wave 5, a wave 5 extension. So be careful too. So you could get a wave 5 extension out of it. So tough. This is a tough chart. But the easy money's over. I mean, we were calling this. We wanted to buy here because this was the typical flat. But again, really bullish stocks always do a run in flat. So it was a run in flat. It was just a run. So you can't be too picky about your entry. But I mean, it's just, again, we had 5 up off the low. So we figured that you would get this and you just got the run in flat. So it just didn't work out. And that's what that can happen. That can happen. And there's nothing you can do about it as a trader. So that's just the way it goes. You didn't get the clear setup. But anyway, that's a price action. What a bullish altcoin. But that's a nice one. So just but be careful, because it does seem like if the cycle's over, it does seem like it's gonna go deeper. All right, let's go to the other people's questions. I'm getting a lot of super chats here. I'll just do. I'll go back to BitF later. I'll go to and a yacht. Thanks for the 10, and you're number 1, man. Happy New Year to you, and always doing what's best for me. Yeah, because I always say that because people like to blame me when you lose money. And the funny thing is a lot of times when I get yelled at on my DMs from people, they're just not patient, and the chart actually works out later, and it's just because they're impatient. Like GameStop will be that, guys. GameStop's going to be over $20. It's just they're impatient. Or natural gas. I got so much criticism on natural gas. Now look at it, it's fucking mooning. It's like boils won't. So it's like you got to be. A lot of people just aren't patient. You got to be patient. If you're so impatient, that's why you're going to lose money. This is a game you got to have patience. Nothing's just going to V bottoms are rare, guys. But yeah, no, I always say do what's best for you because you got to own it. SW. Okay, I'm not familiar with these tickers, but we'll look at them. We'll take a look at them. And then the other one is NMTC. All right, a couple new ones you bring into our community. All right, so right away when I look at this chart, you see this low broke here. That's a bearish sign. That's a breakdown. That's never good. That opens up a new downtrend. But maybe it's good if you like to short it, right? If you're a short seller, this is something you'd love to see. You have 3 up off this high. So more than likely, there's more downside in this stock, whatever it's doing. Yeah, and you see how it goes to negative. So more than likely, you've got more downside. So the only thing you're going to be able to do is look at the swings and try to play the swings. So you do the saving thing is you only have 3 up here, so you could still try to play a flat for a more bullish chart in the future. More than likely, you're not going to get that though. So this needs to play out more, but this wave 5 should be ending at any moment, and then we should get a bigger bounce in 4. So it should. What you'd like to see is something like this develop, okay? You know, this is typically how these things end, like some kind of end in diagonal as buyers step in. If you see that, that's bullish. That would be more bullish, and then you could get a massive pump out later where you get something like this. Okay, so that's how I would be looking at that. I think it needs more downside. I think it's got like some more chop, and then I would want that reinsurance too. I wouldn't just be guessing that B's done. I think it's got. I want to see this play out more. And look at a chart like Zoom Video, for example, and how that played out more, and then it became safe for the buy, and then we could try to play that. Of course, it could just keep dropping, right? And if it does, then it's just a go to zero stock. And I don't know what this company does, but this is the only play in it I see, some kind of pattern like this, something like that. And then this one, let's take a look at this one. So it's holding the low, May 22. I'm only seeing 3 off the bottom here. It broke this low. So again, it's setting up, it's in a downtrend. It's almost the same situation as the other, just a much higher degree where you have 3. And now you just need to count 5 waves down. So you need 5 waves down, and then it could become a counter trend opportunity. But this is a tough one. I'm just labeling it. See, it's got to play out this whole sequence, and my chances are yeah, it's see how that overlap. Yeah, this could be a sideways 4. So let's look at the RSI, how it reset down, and you see, okay, so I will put the wave 3 here. This looks like a sideways 4, and we need 5. So to me, it looks like it's in some kind of triangle in 4 that should be ending at any moment. Let's look. It may have ended here, in fact. So if you're brave, perhaps there's, and I say brave, there's a counter trend opportunity. See, it's still negative now, so it's real tough. This is one I'm giving you my forecast, but I do think when this wave 5 finishes, it has a chance to go vertical, and it could do just like I showed the other one. I mean, this is really bullish, right? But it could theoretically do something like that. Like I don't know what happened here, why it went so parabolic, but this is what we could see when it's finished, or it's just a 1 and then we get a 2 up to $10 and then it goes to 0. So again, this is my guess. It could also, this wave 4, we could still be in 4. I could have this mislabeled, right? So it's just tough to say, but I'm just giving you what I think, where I think we are with it. But you'll have to do what's best, best for you. You'll have to do what's best for you. Oh, we took that high out. So so yeah, we're still in 4. Yeah, maybe a larger degree. Yeah, it may be something like this then. I'm sorry. Yeah. It could, so it could, this triangle could expand. So we're in 4. We're in 4, but it looks like at some point it's going to break down in 5. This will break down at some point. That's what it appears to me. All right, thanks for the 10, man. Anonymous BitF. BitF is what do those guys do? Oh, Bitfarm is another miner. I don't like BitF because it only shows 3 swings off the low. It doesn't show 5 to me. Although I could try to force 5 here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But this was a short area, and it is struggling. There's better stocks to play than this one. I would only play it as if it could come back down to like $1. Then you could probably play it against a stop loss. You have a stop loss you could play it against. Let's look at the RSI just to see how it looks. You see, there's really no divergence at this peak, although maybe there is. Maybe I'll have to look at it more carefully. Let's see. Yeah, there is divergence. So yeah, I mean, I think from my RSI system, it does show 5. It just shows a real tight 4 and 5. So I mean, the right way to label it using my system would be something like this. So if that's the case, it would be supported. It would become a buy at some point. It just seems like it's too early. Again, it seems like it needs a bounce and a failure. So you would expect it to bounce somewhere between 233, 169. And then it seems pretty likely it fails. It seems pretty likely it fails. However, the case that it won't fail is it hit the wave 4 low, and it's already moved 3, and it's gone deep enough. So again, it's like, take your, are you gonna, how bullish do you want to be? I mean, it's either that, or it's what I showed you. But you could miss the move on a wave 3. I just don't know. So again, you have to just do what's best for you and play it. I'd rather play Mara if I'm thinking Moonboy than this, but it could do that. I mean, it could be what I have here. But I do think it's a 4 and 5 with the divergence at the top. It looks like at the very last moment it was able to put out some divergence to get so. But I don't personally like the setup. But again, for those of you who follow me, we call it the bottom here. Go back in these videos, watch. We called this low, literally the low in the miners. We watched the miners all correct, and literally the day of the low, I put out the alert. It's time to buy them, and look what I mean. It just has been. So if you're following people that didn't get the crypto bottom, then you need to start following me, guys, because Bitcoin. I put out the alert on Bitcoin, guys. Way back, not at the low because it was too dangerous to buy it here. But when we broke, I think it was when we broke this high here, I said, this is the time to get long. No, actually it was at 18,000. It was here as this break. We broke this pivot here. So we called it the video. You watch my video. We called it the low. So now here, like I said, Bitcoin and crypto, these are corrective structures until they're not. And now the market has proven to us that it's more bullish So we have to be more aggressive. I mean, we blew through this resistance. Now we could backtest this resistance, and that would be healthy. So we'll see what happens with this correction we're in. Are we gonna get a bounce and a failure, or are we not gonna get any failure? We're just gonna bounce. So I don't know, but I do think the crash to these levels is not possible, given that again, playing the market like poker and not like chess. If you're playing the market like chess, it makes a lot of sense that the two would come down here. Like it's Elliott waves, but like poker, there's too much money on the sidelines. There's too many people like me that have 100K to drop that want to get in at a good entry for in the next 20 years. They're gonna buy it. There's just too much money that's going to come in. I mean, you're going to have you're going to have hundreds of millions of dollars flying if this happens. If this comes down here, it's going to be like Christmas, like beyond Christmas. It's going to be like the best gift. It'd be like billionaires are going to be minted, millionaires are going to be minted down here, new millionaires. If this comes down to this level, I mean, I just can't see the market giving such an opportunity to people. There's just no way. I just don't see it. It's just not I just don't see it happening. But trust me, I have some dry power just in case I wake up one day, and they're like, "Oh, USA outlaws Bitcoin. It's down here," and then we buy it, and it goes, "Oh, never mind. The bill won't pass," and then it comes back. I mean, that's the shit that's gonna happen. I mean, if it were to drop like that. Okay, guys. Let's see here. Bama Doc. So Bama Doc, $10. Okay, there's your question. Fubu, DFN, 2-year Treasury yield. All right, Fubu, man. Yeah, Fubu is just corrected deep. It's just again testing the intestinal fortitude of a trader. And again, market. I actually think there's people trading against this after my alert, because literally the day I put the alert out, it started crashing, which is fine. I'm willing to, whoever's out there doing that, I'm willing to go to zero. So make it go to zero, guys. Have it go bankrupt. I mean, fine, have it go bankrupt. I'm gonna hold all the way to zero. I don't care whoever's doing that. I'm holding all the way to zero, and I could care less. So here you have 3 swings, your connector, and now it's coming down. So it's 222 is the new price. But when this eventually ends, and it will, it's gonna make a lot of people a lot of money. Again, unless you think it's gonna go bankrupt. I mean, last report I was reading doesn't seem like it's going to. So this is a setup. It could still be 1-2-1-2, but it's looking less likely. It's looking like more like just 1-2. So that's the setup. Do what's best for you. If you're someone out there trading against it, I'm just going to hold to zero, guys. So I'm not going to fold. So you got that. You heard that from me. I'm not selling it. So good luck to you. Sure, if you're trying to short it, good luck. I'm not selling it. So. Anyway, that's Fubu, and then what was your other one? Devon Energy. Yeah, I'm more bearish on Devon Energy because of the setup. It has a good dividend, and occasionally Kramer pumps it. I do think it trades more with natural gas, from what I understand. But so I hadn't looked at it, and it's actually not really trading that well, given where natural gas is. So right away, I look at the structure. You see this choppiness. Looks like a end of a move. This is typically how the move ends. So it looks like a bigger relief rally coming. So this isn't a connect. So I look at this as a flat now, in a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So the structure changed. Structure's changed. So you can't get to. So I do think it's just got a different structure now. So we're looking for 40, this area, 41, like 41. So it does look like it could be a potential buy in this area for a long-term holder in a flat. This does seem like the likely setup. Like I said, I don't know this for a fact, but I had heard from people, from other traders, that Devon Energy likes to essentially moon with natural gas. So perhaps the fundamental investors have fallen asleep on that news. Perhaps it hasn't come out, perhaps whatever. But if natural gas is starting to moon and pump, perhaps that's what creates the wave 3 and gets this thing going again. So I don't know, but that's what I've heard about Devon Energy and how it trades. But you have to do what's best for you. And since it's a flat, you're going to get bullish divergence. So you have that. So yeah, it needs a relief rally. It's going to bounce soon. It could bounce at any moment. This count can be off. This thing could bounce at any moment, guys. I could put the 4 here and then have it in a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I mean, so the more bearish count was if this was a connector, but it's not a connector. To me, it's not a connector. To me, it's just a finish in a move. And then this could form a connector later, or it could be wave 2. And again, we have 5 off the low, so it should go to these areas I've highlighted, 165, 170. So it's just telling you energy is going to moon again. Oil's probably going to moon, or if this is natural gas is going to moon, which I do believe natural gas is going to moon. Natural gas completed a massive crash, and now is starting to build its wave 3 grand super cycle in momentum. So I do think this is the look I've got on Devon Energy. So anyway, do what's best for you on that. 2-year Treasury yield is just kind of like the forecast I gave earlier on the 10-year. But yeah, the 2-year Treasury yield. So I have this in the 1, 2, 1, 2, and I said wave 2 can come pretty deep. But we need to respect the flat now. So this wave 2 more than likely is going to do a flat. It's still, so if this pivot here, if this gives up, that will negate the 1, 2, 1, 2 setup, which seems like it's going to happen. So I'm looking for a flat. I'm looking for a flat correction. Yeah, something like this. So the target would be 3.1, 2.49. So perhaps the Fed is going to cut rates again. You know, I don't know. Maybe they cut rates again. Now, since it's a wave 2, it could go. It could double bottom even. It could do that, right? It could do that. So this would be the I think the melt up scenario. This is probably SPY 510 scenario, right? And then this is whenever wave 3 happens, crash. So now that if we go deeper, this will also lower the target here down. So change the target levels. But eventually, my guess is we should be trading up at 6-7% at some point. At some point, which more than likely will crash the indices. Yeah, 7.5. So that gets us to 7.5. So I don't know, something like that. That's what I'm looking for. All right, thanks for the 10, man. Bama. Donald for 10. NVIDIA, Chevron, SPI. All right. Yeah, NVIDIA, we're trading in a wave 5, unless it can erase divergence, right? I mean, and then could NVIDIA be signaling moon boy scenario in the indices? I don't know. We have to watch it if divergence is erased, right? So we extended in 5, and we're in this wave 3 of 5 now. So this is the pivot. If this pivot breaks, then this is another 1-2. This becomes a 1-2. And then it's going to go to $700-800. So I do think this is the look. So I think wave 3 should be ending at any moment. But as you can see, there's 4s and 5s to play out. So in some ways, it's tough to say. But I mean, if I look at this chart, you see that it already reset. The 45-minute cycle is already done here. So either that 4 is done already here, or it's still extending. It's still extending. It's still extending. I don't know. Wouldn't that be something? Imagine if it's still extending. That means people are trying to top tick the short. Don't try to top tick Nvidia, guys. Don't short Nvidia. Don't try it. Don't think about doing it, because if it's extending and a blow off top in 5, or it becomes another 1-2, I'll give you the target. This is the most bullish target if it's a 1-2, guys, and you'll see what I mean by don't try to top tick this thing, because if it extends in wave 3 and it extends, it's $1,000. It's $1,000 target. You'll blow up your account. No one knows the future. No one knows why it would ever do that. But I'm just telling you, if this extends and erase divergent on the daily, it hasn't done it yet, but if it could take this divergence out, this peak out, then you're looking at $1,000 Nvidia. $1,000 Nvidia. But I can't predict the future. I don't know how the market is trading it. Maybe everyone's trying to short it still, and they're just getting blown up still. Maybe everyone is piling in. Maybe is being manipulated by a big entity. I don't know, but whatever it is super bullish. I would warn you, with the RSI reset, this could still extend. It could still extend. I don't think that this is too shallow to be a 4 and too strong, but for this cycle degree. But I mean, I'm just giving you it wouldn't surprise me if this is a 2. But do what's best for you. And then CVX, probably like the other one. How deep did we get? We were forecasting CVX to go lower. We need to let's go to commodities here. So CVX. 4. So one more push lower. Almost like Devin, right? One more push lower. So I have this in a wave 5. So we need to go lower. One more swing lower, and then that should do it. That should do it. And that should do it. So I don't think it's going to get down to this level unless it does a crash. I mean, it could still crash in 5. I mean, it could still do that. I mean, I don't know, but it just seems like 137, 131 is probably a more realistic target now. And again, it looks like to me it's finishing a flat, and then it should swing higher. So we'll have to keep an eye. It could still crash to this area I have highlighted, but I don't think it's going to make it there anymore, just because it's getting buyers are coming in. So that's what I'm looking for. Now, if it could take this high back out, this high out at 154, then the bottom's in, and then 2's in already, and then it's in a 1-2, 1-2 setup. So again, my forecast can be wrong. You could look at this as 5 waves, but the way I look at it is actually in 3 is a 1-2, 1-2, 3, 4, 5. So I do see it in 3, but there's so many swings here it could be mislabeled. So, but this is what I'm looking at for Chevron. And of course, the other thing with Chevron is it could do this, right? It could always, and same thing with Devon, guys. It could do that, a much bigger side. It could do that, and then that later. So there's no guarantee it's just going to go straight up, but it's due for this type of bounce, some kind of bounce. And then SPXS. So it's really just listen, earlier to my forecast on the SPY, right? But I mean, we'll look at the individual symbol and see if there's any clues. We were looking for the rip. So to get this rip higher, you need 3 waves, but unfortunately this looks like 5 waves now. We broke the low right here. So this is negated. So the flat's negated. So unfortunately, this is some kind of ABCD, like some kind of flag that broke. So this is typically a wave 4 of some kind, and then this is a wave 5. So what this tells me on a bigger picture is SPXS is is finishing a wave 5, and then it should be ready to go much higher. So it looks like to me that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, we broke the low. So either we're still in 2, like the indice, and it comes back up and back tests 1269, or it's 2 is done and it's going to go into 3. This will be SPY 510. So I do think it's I think it's tough to forecast where it is right now, but you could have forced 3 swings, but now with this pushback and lower, like the break, now you have to call this 5. I'm going to call this 5 down. Yeah, see, and you have bullish divergence right here at this fall. So it's probably like a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, something like that. So anyway, something like that. If you get lucky, it could pop up to this area. This would be if the indices can come back to like 460, 458, SPY, something like that. But it can, like I said, it can be done. I think it's tough to say. All right, Dan, thanks for the 10. All right, so I've been on a little bit longer than I thought. I'll just scan through your comments, and if there's nothing else, I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up. I did love the super chats. Thanks, guys. I'll see if I can stocks I've already tracked. I'll mention if I can't do a new chart. I just don't have time to do new charts. Mara gave an update on Mara earlier. SMH, I mean, you could just look at NVIDIA, what I just told you, and AMD. Oh, highest target for DraftKings. DraftKings should make another swing higher like everything else. It does like to trade with the Russell. If the Russell is forecasted to go lower, that also could bring DraftKings to our buy area. We have our buy area at 27. I was looking at this connector. I see a connector. So let me take this back. 3 connector down. So theoretically, that could be a bottom. So it may not make this final swing lower. It could stop at, it just could be a low. But it doesn't seem likely given the Russell and where the wave 4 bottom is. It seems like it will go deeper, okay? But how high could it go? Assuming it goes deeper, like I have it, the wave 3 extension is somewhere around 73, so new all-time highs. And then if it breaks 73, then we're looking at a triple digits or higher. So this stock is. This was one of the most bullish small caps. If I remember trading this, guys, out of all the small caps, all the shit stocks that we tracked, and it's not really a shit stock, but all those stocks that crashed like this was the first one to come out, the first one to show 5 waves, so this is one of the strongest of the strong. So I would definitely be looking to get long this for a long-term hold if the market gives you a gift and drops here, but this may be all you get out of it. Right here, the daily has a good reset, so you may not get this dip. We may not get it. It may be done, but I still think it's possible, given the forecast in the Russell Index overall, that we get this dip. So it's, I got my fingers crossed to get back in it, because I've been trading in and out of it. But this would be a real nice area. If it can materialize. Tina, it looks like I got a last minute super chat. All right, I'll do that. And Boyle. Yeah. All right, I think I have Illumina. So Illumina, it looks like it finally hit a bottom or wave 4. All right, so Illumina. So if you look at the degree, look at this 4. So I'm just one swing off. So again, this is why it's so hard to label this with Elliott waves, but sometimes you miss these tight swings. So you could look at the big picture. So it does look like this 4 is done, is in, or we're working on this 4. We should get one more 5. We should get this 5th wave. You want to see this 5th wave. Now when I look at this, we made a higher high with divergence. Let's see. Wow. It could be finished. Or if it's in 3, let me just look. Yeah, when I look at this closer, it's at a moment of truth. The weekly RSI broke cycle and it held the back test. So I think we have to call, and given the break higher, we have to call the correction finished. And it's just got a real funky labeling that isn't clean. You know, it's got to be some kind of weird labeling that just wasn't symmetrical, you know, something like that. And that's fine. So that's good if you're an investor. So this looks like 5 down. It's some kind of massive flat correction of some kind, a massive top. Can you even label it as a flat? No, you can't. So, but this is clearly 3 up. Oh, it does have divergence. So again, I think a feature of Illumina is it has some really strange looking chart patterns. Tight. So here it looks like to me 5 down, and then, you know, thinking out loud, it's because we didn't see the divergence, we didn't get the 4 wave, right? I'm forcing a 4 wave. This is 3 down, so actually it looks like just a massive WXY correction. It just looks like a massive WXY that finished Y. And in fact, that's probably better for it. It's got to be just some kind of massive. That's what the RSI is showing me, some kind of massive WXY correction. So yeah, that's how I label Illumina. So Illumina, like a bunch of other healthcare stocks, is coming out of a grand supercycle correction, and we'll see if it can turn its company around for investors. We'll see. So that's the bet, but it does look like a breakout. It's breaking out. So that's Illumina, and then Boyle. Of course, I'm in that. So Boyle is tricky because, you know, it's a triple. It's an ETF. It's a leveraged ETF and all that, and it doesn't trade exactly with the price. So I just kind of keep an eye on a bunch of things. So this is definitely, you got to do what's best for you. I would never bet money in it that you can't take 10 to 15% swings in one day either way, which is what it's been doing. I'm looking at it like in a 1, 2, 3, 4, like we get this wave 5. There's a downtrend line, a massive one that goes way back that we should be coming up against. My guess is it should act as resistance initially. So I'm looking for 44 and then a pretty healthy pullback. And we could pull back down to 29. And then we could get a bigger swing higher later into these other areas that I have up here, 60s. So that's my forecast in Boyle right now. If we do go deeper, then it's just a 1, 2, 1, 2 setup, or I could change again, tweak the count to make it something like this, right? Something like that. But either way, I still think longer term it's higher. So so it's tough. Boyle has a lot of possibilities. So you go, okay, so it's not clear anymore in Boyle. So what's natural gas doing itself, right? We can look at natural gas, and natural gas, my account on natural gas is a little different. So I have a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for the first 1, 2. I have 5 up here. I call that a 1, 2 because we overlapped waves, and then we have, looks like we're trying to impulse out of that. So again, we could be in 2 here. The other one, it could call it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and an A, B, C, back to 2, 7. But either way, natural gas is coming to these areas I've highlighted. Just like I had with LTCN and all these other things, I finally got there. So eventually, I think natural gas will be in this area up here. It's just going to take it time. And that's why you have to buy at the right levels so that this type of chop is not going to concern you. Because my buy entries are down here. So the 10% swings could care less. Boyle, my entry in Boyle was down in this area. So whatever happens up here, I could care less. Even if it comes back down to 29, I'm not going to get shaken out of it. If you're buying up here, it's tough because if you bought up here and you FOMO in, you got to hold through all that. And of course, I could always be wrong, right? It's all, because this is 3 waves, right? And if it's 3 waves, this could be a WXY, and it can come down and break the low, right, and fool everybody, and then you know, and then it could just do that. So one, to confirm the bullish nature, we have to take this high out back out at 41 to confirm 5 up, and then 2, you know, natural gas could correct deeper, so this could turn into a 1-2-1-2. So it's tough. This is the Boyle chart is not clear at the moment. INDO, Indonesian energy. So we were looking at this earlier. Wonder how it was doing, how it's been doing since we last looked at this. Oh, let's take a look at what we got here. So we wanted to see the wave 2 hold. Did it hold that low? It didn't hold the low. Okay, so the structure is broken. However, okay, I have to reorient myself to the chart. So that's the pivot, 153. So I mentioned that this wave, we're in this wave 2. As long as 150.49 hold, well, as long as that low holds, this chart that I'm showing is still relevant. It's just the wedge is becoming wider. It's just changing shape, but it's still a wedge is a wedge. So I still think it's going to come out. I still think it's going to come out, and this could end at any moment now. I mean, it may already be be over. We can look at the 45-minute and see if we see any signs of an impulse, and we do. So it seems like to me we have 5 off this bottom in a kind of a stealth move of some kind. And now this is correcting. So it could do that, or it could be finished already. So you'll have to do what's best for you. It could do this. You know, something like that. So I don't know. So yeah, but I mean, definitely if we can retake $3, that's very good, or come out of the wedge in 330. So definitely keeping an eye on that. That's why I have it in blue. And then PAC. So PAC. Let's take a look at how PAC is doing. So with PAC, the 2 did not get supported. So if you would have bought it here, you would have been stopped out. So now it opened up a bearish structure. So the bullish structure is erased, but it's still being okay. It looks like though this is in 3 waves off the low here. And a massive flat. So it turned into a flat correction in 2. So again, it traps a lot of people. Flats are so vicious because they're hard to forecast, but that's what we got is the flat. And we didn't get the 1-2-1-2. And as you can see, it hit the buy area exactly. So that's a flat. That's another way to tell. Look, see? It literally hit the buy area at 106 and went in a V bottom. So that was a flat. It's in the new cycle higher. Looks like it's in a wave 2 off the bottom. It could still go deeper, but it's in a new cycle higher. So I do think it's going to continue higher. This was just a vicious flat that probably got a lot of traders blown up here, and then now it should be coming out in this wave 2, something like that. Okay, so I got to wrap it up, guys. That's all I've got for today. Thanks for the super chats. I got a lot of super chats today. Really appreciate that. I'll try to cover more questions. Maybe I do another live stream next day or two since I have some time. But yeah, I think gold's another one that we need to keep an eye on breaking out. May not, I want to see that dip lower, but it's looking like we may not get that. So we'll keep an eye on that. I'm just scanning through the final comments. Yeah, Litecoin has, yeah, there's this dude on the internet, I think that calls himself the CEO of Litecoin. I don't follow him because I just got sick of all the pumping. But he's the guy dumping. He's driving a Lambo. Every time you buy Litecoin, you're paying his Lambo payment, guys. This guy. I'm just telling you, that's what you're doing. You're paying his car payments. So that's why I'm like F this coin too until I see some real capitulation, which I hope